Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Happy Friday to you and your family. Hope you're having an amazing and fantastic week slash Friday. Obviously, the weekend's on the horizon where we want to see kind of what's going to go on in the next 24 to 48 hours, but more importantly, what just happened and where, what does it mean essentially? All right, so we're going to take a look at that and much more. And if you're new to the channel, just know I'm not a financial advisor, right? I love teaching people to trade. I really hope you can learn something here today. And if you do, comment below, let me know, and we'll be happy to obviously help you further. I do also offer a trading academy, community, and signal group. Link in the description below. CryptoCache.tech is the website for that to register. We've got a lot of new members coming over, and it's really an awesome experience. So thank you so much to my current community members for just making my life an awesome place, because I get to interact with you frequently, and we have over 200 active members right now, so it's awesome. Check that out in your own time. But here's the thing with Bitcoin. First and foremost, yesterday was looking terrible. We were still stuck under that descending type of trend here, we can see, and it was looking pretty unfortunate as far as like how overextended it was to the downside. It of course bounced back and recovered. We can see also too that the dollar index kind of, I wouldn't say it took a nosedive, but it absolutely opened poorly today, and has since recovered a little bit. But generally speaking, when the dollar index goes down, Bitcoin has a tendency of increasing. It's kind of that reverse action there. Traditional markets also gapped up, but they're still struggling to kind of stay higher. But all things considered, it's looking pretty good here for Bitcoin in that regard. Another thing to recognize too, traditional markets, they are overextended to the downside as well, so a bounce makes perfect sense, which we should expect to see. It may not be significant, but it is enough to notice in Bitcoin itself. All right, so again, that's kind of just the foundation of what's going on in the back end. There's also I think unemployment data came out as well. That's what caused the dollar index to come down, and in turn Bitcoin increase. So that can only affect Bitcoin positively, which is really odd to think about, because you would expect it to be the opposite. But again, cryptocurrency is a strange thing. Anyways, take a look here at the basically the moving averages. Let's start with that first. Just kind of touch on the obvious. We're still underneath all moving averages. We will be for some time. So that's just kind of quoting the obvious here essentially. Not much we can do about that. It's going to be a little while. Good news is though, we did break above this most recent descending trend, and we're no longer making lower highs. Well, I mean, we still are technically, but it broke its trend and it's no longer continuing lower, right? Higher highs are essentially happening on shorter time frames, but for right now, we're still kind of range bound between 19.5 and 20,400. In fact, it came up to 20,400 today, got rejected, and it may actually continue to retest that level and break through eventually, because you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, now 5 days of trying to break through that level. Okay, that's a good sign. The more often you try to test something, the more likely it is to break. Okay, so that's positive there in that sense. Taking a look at the RSI, of course, not much to really disseminate, except for the fact that it is slowly averaging itself up, getting closer to 50, but still closer to 30 if you think about it. Honestly, it's nothing fantastic or telling. The MACD is starting to shift its momentum. This is a very positive sign here in overall sense, while it hasn't occurred yet. When this 12 intersects with the 26 in an upward fashion, these are exponential moving averages. It effectively tells us that over the last, X amount of days, between 12 to 26 days, the price action has shifted its momentum from bearish to bullish. Now, we're not there yet, but we can see that the bearish sentiment or mentality is waning. Okay, so again, if we can break through 20,400, we could see a MACD convergence here, and of course, the price action continue higher to retest the level of somewhere in 21.5 and or even higher, 28,000 eventually. All right, so that's a possibility. Again, we got a lot of room to grow, a lot of things we need to accomplish. We got to break through this other descending trend as well before we can kind of have that conversation, but it would be a great start, right, if we can get in the 21 plus range. All right, so that's kind of where we're at there. Mostly positive, I would say. Majority of signs are pointing up for right now on the daily, okay? And when it comes to the 4 hour, we can kind of see here as well. TD sequential, I think we got getting a reset here. Oh, we didn't quite get a full-on reset, so we are at 6 4-hour candles into this progression. So in other words, we came all the way down to a 7, got a bounce off of the RSI, and of course, effectively the price action comes up. Now, when it comes to the price action continuing higher like it is right now, we can kind of see that we are testing key level resistances, such as the 50-day SMA, and we're trending right above the 20. Okay, so ultimately that's a good place to stay. I like that. I think we are due for the price to continue higher. It just needs to retest this level once or twice more. Okay, so I think the next push through 20,400 will actually break that level, just based on what we see here so far. We've got a MACD convergence, of course, in the 4 hour, kind of just telling us that the overall momentum is still bullish, and that isn't slowing down whatsoever. And we also are above 50 on the RSI. This could very well work as a bouncing point, because again, this little area here is at 20,000 even, is essentially a foundational support level. Okay, so again, those are mostly positive things there as well. I don't really see anything adverse here, except for, of course, maybe we might see a slight pullback and then another retest of 20,400. But all in all, I kind of like what I see here so far. Moving on to the 1 hour, let's go ahead. I'm very curious if we're back up above the cloud, which we are. This is a good sign. Now, granted, when the price action is kind of range bound, the cloud can give you some false positives. There's no doubt about that. So it doesn't necessarily mean you want to just take a long position based on that one sentiment. But if you see the conversion lines above the baseline, we have a tremendous amount of momentum, and the lagging span is free and clear of the price action tentatively. It looks to be pretty decent. Now, granted, this red candlestick is not not awesome. It's very ominous and absolutely kind of resetting all the progress here so far. But that's cryptocurrency. Welcome to that world, right? If you're new to cryptocurrency, just know this happens quite a lot. Again, this isn't that significant. It's a small correction of a little over 1%, but 1% in 1 hour can translate into a lot larger of a percentage in the overall sense of things. But at this point, it is still, most signs are pointing up as well. Let's take a quick look at TD sequential and kind of see. We came down to a 9 previously, got a reset down to a 4, and then we came up to a 7, if I see that correctly, and then some sideways action, another increase. So this is consolidating nicely. This is a good, healthy pattern here. It is making higher lows, and that's important. We haven't broken this level here yet. Again, 20,400, if we break that level, it'll be higher highs, and that would be very positive. We'd want to see higher highs, because that would give us that continuation pattern. Okay, but what also could happen too, a lot of times this will occur, is the price action will kind of wedge itself into this type of area, and it'll cause it to essentially break to the upside. Okay, so the more often we retest this level, the more likely it is to break to the upside, right? So again, the common theme here is that we're going to retest 20,400 continuously, at least we have so far. And as we continue to do that, we're looking pretty good here. And again, it's a bit of a stretch, but we can see we're making slightly higher lows, which is, I guess, positive. In all reality, it's not great that we've retested that level either. So we got to keep in mind, there is still potential for the price action to reject off 20,400 as it has so far and continue down lower, below 19.5. That is definitely a distinct possibility. I want you to be prepared for it, but it would make less sense that it does that based on traditional markets being overextended and likely going to recover a little bit, and essentially kind of having that scenario in place. But you got to keep in mind, unemployment data came out that is typically negative in the overall sense of things, at least regarding the US dollar, which can kind of favor in positively. That's why we saw this increase here, because the US dollar is losing value. It's a really interesting system, and it's really odd that it works out that way, but that's just kind of how it is. Either way, that's kind of where we're at here for now. So I would say in the overall sense of things, Bitcoin is looking more positive than negative on most time frames, and I would venture to guess that 20,400 should be retested and broken again here soon. The key here is for us to not make a higher low. In other words, 20,000, if we break below 20,000, that would be disadvantageous. A lot of this effort would be essentially washed away, and we don't want to see that. So the price comes down and bounces, all well and good. This is now the new little support level at 20,000, and we need to kind of hope that that holds based on not only Fibonacci, but previous support levels as well. It has proven to be a very strong support level. 19.8, 20,000, right in that range is a very strong support channel. So, we do have a decent amount of support here. Okay, and that's a positive thing too. So I think we are going to see 21,000 retested here in the very near future. Potentially today, depending on how the market closes, but likely over the weekend with this momentum. If this momentum can continue throughout the trading day, we'll see a green weekend. That'd be very nice if we did that. All right, well, that's kind of where we're at here so far. I hope that you found benefit, of course. If you want to become a better trader, obviously, go ahead and join up. CryptoCache.tech is a site, link in the description below. I look forward to working with you. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks again for your time.